Hi, Miss Lane.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Of course.
Okay, so the time is now 5 o'clock and we will officially call our July 2022 meeting to order. I was telling some of the council members that July is typically a pretty quick meeting because it's just reviewing some things. But feel free if you have any questions.
Hey, Ben, I can't hear you.
How dare you not hear me? Can you hear me now? Are you on mute? Is your volume off?
Oh, there you go. Okay, sorry, that was me, not you. Sorry.
So we should be done by as quick as we can. But again, feel free to ask questions, have discussions, things like that. With Senate Bill 1, things are changing as we've talked about previously. So we'll kind of get into a little bit more of that as we get into those things. So I believe everybody has introduced themselves. Our whole council is present. We do have Kelly here, who's going to be our amazing secretary for this year. She's volunteered to take on that wonderful duty as we go through. So we will go ahead and move into our approval of the agenda. This is a special called meeting, so we are not allowed to change anything on the agenda because it's on a different night than our normal night. But we do still have to approve it. We can remove things, but we just can't add anything. So is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion by Ms. Bowers is a second by Ms. A. Any discussion on our agenda? Okay, all in favor of approving our agenda for tonight, please say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Awesome. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the June 21st, 2022 regular meeting minutes. I'll pull them up on the screen, but you also have a copy in your packet. So if everybody wants to just take a second to review our minutes from last meeting, and when we're ready, we'll take a motion and a second to approve. And if we have any revisions, just let me know and I can.
Did we really only
Note
carry
them.
forward $37? Is that the right amount?
Where was that?
3-6. Number 3-6. Number 3.
That was, yes, I'll adjust that. That's, we didn't carry forward that money. That was what we were going to be lose. That's what we lost. That,
Oh, okay.
so we're going to strike that line.
I was just scanning. I was like, I don't think.
Yes. So our carry forward is about $8,000. They haven't given us the official number.
Do we ever get our money? Prime time?
Nope, not yet. I did get a random check from UK for $100
Why?
because we host student teachers. So
Wow.
apparently we get $100 for
Run away
student
with
teaching.
that.
Yeah, I never do that either. So that was they sent us a $100 check for everything that we did.
Oh, you're rich now.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, Ms. Bowers motions to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Gerken. Ms. Lane, you were too slow. All in favor of approving our minutes with the revision of that budget statement that I'll make, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so moving on to our next agenda item, good news report. So we have finished with our Summer Ignite whole school program. We are getting ready for our kindergarten Summer Ignite. We have 40 kids signed up to attend that kindergarten Summer Ignite. There's only 6 that we have not heard from one way or another. We've got, I think, 6 kids that aren't able to attend. And then there's 6 additional students that won't call us back. We've not been able to get in contact with them to get an answer one way or another of if they're attending. It is small right now.
What's the kindergarten enrollment?
For
That's it.
50, it's like 52 is roughly is where we're at with that, which is low. But when we come back after July 20th, when our office staff gets back, we're going to do a big push. Miss Mason's going to be going out to all the apartment complexes and just dropping off flyers and trying to get kids to
Register before.
yes. So, because it's so much fun when they register as they come in.
When they just drop them on a bus. and they
Yes.
just wander the hallways.
Yes. So, and we found that one of our preschool students who doesn't turn 5 until September 1st actually enrolled as a kindergartner, but they can't be a kindergartner because they have another year in preschool. So, so that's the fun with that. I am.
What was the number you said you have currently enrolled for?
We have 40 coming to kindergarten ignite, and we're gonna throughout that week, if someone enrolls during that week, we're gonna give them the registration form and say, okay, you're staying, like stay till today and then come tomorrow, and just we're gonna try and get as many kids in as we can, because our goal is to complete as much of the Brigance testing as we can during that, and then we're going to have a second day for kids that aren't able to attend, for them to be able to come in and get their testing done, so that we have all that data coming in. The second thing I am very excited to announce is we are almost fully staffed. We are down to 2 positions that I'm currently in negotiations with people. I'll cover those later on, but hopefully we'll be able to fill those by the end of this week. We've interviewed for them. We have candidates picked out, but it's just trying to get, it's a, I don't even know where I'm saying. One person has to accept this position before I can do this person, because if the first person doesn't take it, then we may go to the second person for what they just can switch around. So I don't know that I didn't say we were, but there may be some discussions. Yes. So, but so to make everybody feel better, we were interviewing until the day before school started last year. So I'm very excited that we are almost fully staffed. So last week we had a great office staff retreat. Anybody who works in the front office or has connection to that got together. We started working on kind of our vision for the school and kind of what do we see moving forward as a school. And then our full staff will be getting together in a couple weeks. I won't tell you the number of days, but we'll be getting together and doing some more deeper work into where do we go from here. It's more than one day. We got some time, but it's just, we're getting close to single digits is why.
We are not close to single digits.
So the office retreat,
Oh,
to the staff retreat.
it's the 12th. That's not till August.
Well, I count work days. So no, it's not. It's like 3 weeks.
It's more than single digits.
It's getting close to single digits. I just said close. That's why I'm not talking in those words. Today's Prime Day for teachers. So if you want to get on and order anything, I'll just throw that in there.
My husband's gonna be like,
So
I
I
have
have,
those little erasers for the whiteboards, you know, the little square ones, a pack of 40.
now they've got little magnetic ones that you chuck on the whiteboard and they stick to the whiteboard. Like you just throw them and they're magnetic
Post-it
on each
notes.
4 corners.
Does each teacher have like a list that's available?
Some teachers do.
Okay.
So they're posting them just on Facebook. But that's a good idea for next year is we'll get that for Prime Day of what people want beforehand.
Well,
So
each
that-
teacher have their own thing where you could like, okay, first grade teachers or fourth
Uh-huh.
grade or whatever. and
Yeah.
just Go in.
Yeah, so yeah, next year we will definitely do that before Prime Day occurs so that we can take advantage of that with everything. So does anybody else have any additional items they want to celebrate today? Okay, awesome. Moving on. Is there any public comment today? Okay, moving on. The next item on your agenda is the school improvement planning report. That's a really fancy term for the CSIP. So you do not have that in your packet because you have a whole nother section in your binder for the CSIP. So we are currently just kind of in the monitoring phase of our comprehensive school improvement plan. You can see that's phase 4, and phase 4 runs from January 1st to December 31st. Now, coming up in October, we'll be starting to revise our CSIP, which that'll be some of the work that the staff is going to start on at our staff retreat, is kind of thinking through our processes from there. Any questions on the CSIP? I hope everybody's read it, has it memorized. So you're totally supposed to. Okay, so moving into the next item, which is budget reports. You don't have the budget reports in here right now because we are currently locked out of Munis and the school activity fund. That's normal for end of year. We're just in in that process where they're closing it out. So we've closed out the 21-22 books and we're rolling into the 22-23 books. I'll have a full report for you guys at the August meeting with all of the budget and what that looks like. And we can always make revisions to it. We start off with just where we think money's going to go, but we can always adjust and move as we need to. So that moves us on to our next item on the agenda, which is an action item for today. So I'm going to make a motion that we allow our bookkeeper to transfer money from one account to another account with the principal's approval. So it's still our budget, it's still our money. You'll still see it, we'll talk about it, but it just gives us the ability to move from one item to another item. If we don't do this, then we have to have a council meeting every single time we want to move money from one account to another account if we run out in this account. So
I'll make a motion to approve it.
okay, so I made the motion.
Or I'll second. the
You
motion.
second it. So
The
it's
motion.
a motion by Mr. V, a second by Ms. Bowers. Any discussion on this topic? Okay, all in favor of approving our motion to allow the bookkeeper to transfer money with the approval of the principal, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. See, I told you, we're going quick. Okay, the next item on here is bylaw or policy report and review. The first page, nope, that is not the right one. So in your packet, you have this paper here. That this just lists out all the different policies that we currently have. And so we'll be looking through this and kind of working through all of those aspects there. So those are all of our current policies. They are all linked on the website. You also have a copy in your packets. But that's just how we as a school function, is through those policies. So
You
the
did a good job. You did a good job last year organizing.
Yes.
Getting
That-
them all taken care of.
and we're gonna go back and reread them all again this year,
Oh,
but
I
it's
love that.
it should be much quicker because we just reviewed them last year and kind of looked through them. So there's a few things we'll need to update, but it should be a lot more minimal than where we were. But yes, the
These
council.
are all the ones we're required to have.
Yes,
right?
everything on here was required. There is now the principal selection policy, which we're going to talk about. That is no longer required. So that'll be an action item here in about 4 minutes. So we'll move on to the next one. So the next policy, the policy we need to talk about today is the consultation policy. You have the original copy was in the front of your binder. This is an updated version with edits that I've made. So as we talked about last month, Senate Bill 1 dramatically changed the hiring process for principals. Previously, principals had or SBDM councils had the full authority over SBDM selection, or not SBDM, over principal selection. So whoever the council wanted, that's who the superintendent had to hire. Now, moving forward, it has shifted to the superintendent who has the full authority. I can tell you that the way it's functioning currently is the council still holds the interviews, still does the whole process. And the way they're doing it now is the council recommends 2 individuals to the superintendent, and the superintendent will do his own interview. And the way ours reads is that people are on that interview, but he would pick from those 2, or he would say no and send it back to, is how it's happening now. He sends it back to the council, lets the
Is that
council
written
send.
down somewhere?
It is not,
Oh.
because he can do it however he wants to do it. He doesn't have to do anything other than consult. So this policy here says how he consults. So I will tell you, I took what KDE put as their draft proposal. So I will run through kind of those changes here. So previously, our consultation policy only dealt with certified and classified personnel. It didn't deal with a principal because we had a whole separate policy for that. So what I've done is I've added in this component to have a section that's about certified and classified personnel. And I did not recommend any changes in here other than to remove C, principal selection policy for procedures for this vacancy.
We already went over this once.
We've
Okay,
talked through this
okay.
top part. So you can see I've just made some minor edits. The changes are in green or marked or gray on your paper version. So the big edit that came in is I added in this section about principal selection procedures. I believe it's on the third page of your packet of that policy. This is a whole new edition, and I will tell you, I copy and paste it from KDE. So I'll just kind of review what it says. So it just says the school council must be consulted by the superintendent prior to filling a principal vacancy that occurs at the school. So really all the superintendent has to do is talk to the council. They don't have to legally, the superintendent can do whatever they want. They just have to have a conversation with the council, which could be, I'm hiring this person. And that's consultation, technically. So these are kind of the steps that we're outlining in our council. I will say, I'm kind of surprised that Fayette County has not put out, you need to do X, Y, and Z in your policy. So that's why I'm going with KDE's, because I think that's the closest we have. So it just says, once the vacancy has been posted publicly, the superintendent or designee must include on the agenda of the next regular or special called meeting the following agenda topic: consultation with the school council for the principal vacancy. The superintendent or designee and school council must meet the following timeline for filling the principal vacancy. Prior to consultation with the school council, each member must sign a non-disclosure agreement forbidding the disclosure of information shared and discussions held during consultation. Once a principal vacancy is determined, the superintendent, along with at least one parent member and at least one teacher member chosen by the school council, must serve as an ad hoc interview committee. The ad hoc interview committee must meet in an open meeting within 1 week of selection to develop a set of criteria for a strong principal candidate and a list of interview questions to be asked of each applicant. At the discretion of the superintendent, additional members may be asked to participate on the committee. So that's where he's currently asking the whole council to serve on that committee.
So wait, this is the law?
This is what KDE has interpreted as the law, as how they would say it should function. So
What does ad hoc mean? Or
Just,
where does it come from?
we have 3 standing committees. We have a curriculum committee, a climate committee, and no,
Climate?
communication. Curriculum, climate, and communication. Those are our 3 standing committees that report to the council. And then an ad hoc committee is just one that we create, and it can be disbanded at any point.
Okay.
So ad hoc, we can change at any point. Like technically every interview we have, that is an ad hoc committee of the SBDM council.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
but we can change them at any point. Standing committees, that membership is pretty stable. This is who it is for the whole year. So once the third bullet, once the vacancy has completed the 15-day posting requirement, the ad hoc committee must reconvene and review applicants and supporting materials for each applicant and make a final selection of candidates who exhibit the characteristics of a strong candidate. Any applicant that does not meet the criteria will not be considered for an interview. An interview schedule must be developed by the ad hoc committee so that all committee members are present for each interview. The superintendent or designee must contact the candidates and schedule the interviews. During the interviews, each candidate will be asked the developed questions in the same order. Follow-up questions may be asked in response to applicant answers statements during the interview. On the next page, upon the completion of the interview and within 3 business days, the superintendent or designee must follow up with reference checks on candidates of interest. The ad hoc committee must reconvene within 1 week of the final interview to review the candidates, discuss reference checks, and prioritize candidates. At the school council's next meeting, whether regular or special called, the council will convene in closed session to permit it by that law, and will consider the ad hoc committee candidates' recommendations and provide its thoughts on the candidates to the superintendent, whom will select a principal candidate to fill the vacancy. At the next regular or special called meeting, the superintendent or designee must report his or her candidate selection to the council. So those are my recommended changes. Again, I said I just took KDE's from there.
So, but if this is our policy.
Yep.
And the superintendent doesn't follow this, who cares?
Technically, he has to follow it because we're defining this is what consultation with our council looks like. So he has to follow this unless the Board of Education for Fayette County comes up with a different policy that states
Okay.
something different.
Because they
Because
don't
we,
have a policy currently.
yes.
How very professional.
So So yes, we can't supersede a board policy. So if Fayette County Board comes out with something, we have to follow that. So if they create a policy said this is how principal selection is going to take place, we would have to comply with that. And in that case, our consultation policy would read, we will follow the board policy. It's how it kind of, so today is just a first reading, so we don't have to vote tonight. It's just kind of take those back, look it over, mull it over. See if you have questions. If you have questions, shoot them to me. I'll do my best to answer them. I think we're all learning with this. So everybody's kind of doing differently. And again, I am surprised that I'm not surprised. I wish that Fayette County would have put out their own policy of this is what we expect all of our schools to do, rather than us
Are
trying to
there any
create it.
openings right now?
The current opening, Lafayette High School is still open. Carter G. Woodson Prep, I believe, is still open. I think those are the only 2 openings that are currently live. But with those openings, the superintendent has the right to choose whether we're going to follow the old way or the new way. So he can go either way. And I don't know which way he's gone with either of those. So, and there were a lot of principal selections this year. There are 8 new elementary principals this year, which is a huge number. There were 4 last year and 2 of them were interims. So we have 8 brand new ones.
2 new high school.
And 2 new high school and a new middle school. And because Lafayette High School's principal moved to LTMS, like there's a whole lot of shifting. Took his whole admin team.
You can do that?
Yes, because it's interviews and technically principal has.
His whole admin team with him.
So it is a very fluid system right now. And right now we have the Superintendent's Leadership Institute this week. It's a conference. And there's a lot of new faces. Because in addition to all the new principals, we also had the changing of the elementary PGE coach, which was the assistant principal, to an official assistant principal, which also caused shifts in staffing. So there's lots of new people all around. So, okay. So our next item is an action item here. This is dealing with the principal selection policy. So I'm going to just go ahead and make the motion because it's the law. So I make a motion that we remove this policy because this policy is null and void at this point, and we have no purview over this, but it has to be in the consultation policy. So my motion is to get rid of this policy. Is there a second? Second by Miss A. Any discussion around that? Okay. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Awesome. So the next item on our agenda is the council documents. Everyone was provided with these documents. The first 2 are in your binder. The Kentucky Open Records, that should be, I gave you another packet that has it in there. So you'll just put that in there. And then the managing government records, please have that. I am going to pass around a sheet of paper that you have to sign, stating that you have received those. It doesn't say anything about you reading them. It just says that you have received them. Yep, nope, you just get one. Jan, I'll give you yours when you get back, so no worries.
I still have to sign the RTA grant too.
Yep, I'll just add it to your pile. So if you can just, if you don't get it done today, totally fine, but just fill this out stating that you are.
My Fayette County Public Schools.
Yes. Yep, everybody's Fayette County Public Schools, the agency address, and put Glendover, like Fayette County Public Schools -Glendover.
So
That's the name of public agency, yes.
What's the address?
710,
Oh, you want this school?
the school's address, not the
I thought you were talking
district.
about Fayette
I was going to, but we're just gonna use the school. So you'll just use the school, 710 Glendover Road. And that's all you need, like, don't,
And the agency was what again? I'm sorry.
Fayette County Public Schools or FCPS-Glendover.
You
And the only place that this goes is I keep them and then I have to upload them to our system. So, and I get to sign one too. Amy.
Phone number.
Just put the school phone, 381-3403. Just put your email address there. I know, ours is really long, so we don't have
Kids is
the,
even longer.
yeah. I'm gonna skip down just while we're here. So I'm gonna jump to C. The next item here is I need everyone to sign this document that just says you agree that I can email you about meetings. If you don't sign this, then I am legally bound to send you a formal letter in the mail every time we're going to have a meeting. So if you would please just sign this so I can send you an email that says I am okay with getting an email about meetings. So it's just, yeah, that's a single page for that.
Do I have to fill out? the email?
Yep, you need to write your email. So I have it truly documented, which email I'm supposed to send it to, of who's who and how's how. So, okay, so our next item, we'll go back to B, is just to choose our meeting dates. So we have a monthly meeting here.
This doesn't fit.
Just get it close.
Look, I'm like down the side.
You have you can just do, if you just do at Fayette, I know that, like, I could get the rest. At
You
Fayette,
said
dot,
you
dot,
had to
dot.
write the whole thing. I was like, yeah, no, that was-
Okay, so let's talk about when we want to have our meetings. Goal is to stay with a standard day, like second Tuesday of the month. If we can avoid that one, because I have HOA for the couple next months. So if we can just not do the second
But we
Tuesday,
always do the third
we
anyway.
typically have done the third, is where we've been for the last year. And really, we're supposed to defer to the parents as to what works with you guys' schedules, because we're supposed to just live here. So if we can kind of talk through and decide on,
As long as we decide in advance, I'm fine.
yeah, we're gonna book them all right now.
So like, as long as I can block it on my book, I'm fine.
Yeah, the only day, I mean, Wednesdays are bad for me. Every other day, I can make it work.
I know staff prefers Tuesday because we have faculty meeting and then they just have
Already
to
here.
stay for another meeting.
Sounds
So,
good to me.
so do we like 5 o'clock? Is that a good time for everybody? Okay.
Like, I don't know when any of our soccer is or so.
Okay.
I'll make it work.
And we can choose to adjust if we get to a point like it's, oh, I can't ever
Yeah.
make any meeting.
Yeah.
We can come back together and switch our day, things like that.
My only issue will be childcare, but I will make it work.
Did we pick the second Tuesday?
If we can do the third, that would help me a lot. So we'll run through our dates. That'll be August 16th. It's also helpful because that puts us not having a meeting the day before school starts, which is never fun.
September 20th,
September 20th.
October 18th. Did you get that one?
Yep, October 18th.
November 22nd. Just the
Yes.
Tuesday before
So
Thanksgiving.
do we want to move to, do we want to do the 15th or the 29th?
15th.
Okay, I'm off the HOA, November 15th. I'm off the HOA at that point, so we can do whatever we want to do.
And I think we're out of school
Yeah,
the 20th, so the 13th.
I did, yes.
Oh, there's
So
no December
let-
written on here.
let's add it on here just in case. If we don't need to meet, we can always cancel. So December 13th. And as long as we post these days, we don't have to have a special call.
January 17th,
January 17th.
February 21st,
21st?
Yep,
Mhm.
February 21st,
March 21st,
March 21st,
April 18th.
tax day,
I was gonna say, it's already in my calendar. I was like, what is on there?
April 18th.
Now, there won't be school May 16th,
Yes, so do we want to do the 9th or the 23rd?
9th.
9th, okay. Um,
20th.
June 20th. Nope. Yeah, June 20th. And I will tell everybody, there's a possibility we may have to have a second meeting in March to talk about staffing. So we just always tell everybody to budget for that could happen. I'll update this list and give you a printed copy to keep in your binder. It'll get posted everywhere. So
I'll post them on the webpage.
awesome. Okay. A, B, and C, we're done. Okay. Moving on to our next agenda item. This is an action item. So annually, we are required to elect a vice chair. The vice chair is responsible for running, Jan did nose goes already. It's for running the meeting in the event that I, the chair, am absent. 900% of the time, we will cancel the meeting rather than make you run the meeting. It would literally be, it's 4:55 and I have an emergency that I have to leave for, and then the vice chair would take over in that capacity. So do we have anyone who would be willing to serve as the vice chair for the 22-23 council year? I won't throw last year's person under the bus.
I'll just do it.
Okay.
I was willing to throw her under.
So
She's such a good friend.
Ms. Bowers has volunteered. Is there a motion to approve Ms. Bowers as our vice chair? Motion by Ms. Hobbs. Is there a second? Second by Ms. A. Any discussion? Anybody else want to volunteer? Okay, all in favor of approving Ms. Bowers as the vice chair for next school year? Please say aye.
I
Okay, motion carries. Awesome.
Volunteer opportunity on that.
Okay, the next item E, staffing and hiring update. I want to formally announce the hiring of our first grade teacher. Her name is Liz Thompson. I screened over 40 people initially for it, narrowed it down to 8. We had a really hard time deciding. And we finally landed on Liz Thompson as our candidate. She is going to be a second-year teacher. She went to UK, did all of her student teaching here in town, had great references. And then she decided to move to Dallas for a year. She just thought her and a friend thought it would be fun to live in Dallas. So they moved to Dallas. She taught at the Catholic school. The assistant principal there raved about her behavior management and just her ability to connect with kids and promote positive achievement for all of our students. So we're excited to announce her. We're still working to hire, as I said earlier, our special education LBD para and our preschool para educator. So hopefully I'll have those closed out by this week if everything works out. If it doesn't, we'll go back to the drawing board and start selecting. I will tell you, everyone in the district is having a hard time hiring classified staff because there is just not the pool of people that are interested in doing it. So we're excited that we have 2 candidates that we're excited about, but for each of those, we did not have a huge number that have come in. The only other position we need to fill right now is our permanent certified sub. I do have a meeting scheduled with someone later this week who's interested in it, coming from out of state, who just wants to get their foot in the door in Fayette County and is interested in it with all of that. So
Did we hire a permanent?
permanent classified sub is going to be Ms. Steintorf
Oh, for a little while.
for a
that's right.
little
I'm
while
done.
to allow
I'm
us
done.
to
Sorry for asking.
make things work the way that they want to work.
Yeah,
And
I got it. I got it. You're good.
yes. So as I say, hopefully we will be fully staffed come the end of this week. That is my goal, and I'll be very happy if it happens. So, okay. The next item is just a reminder to everybody to please sign up for your wonderful SBDM training. I did send out a self-paced option. If you wanted to do that, to save yourself some time from sitting in a session. But if you would, but yes, I did. When you're done, if you would just send me your certificate so that I can upload that into our system. So they are really good. So I did mine. Okay. So the next item, we kind of talked about this last month, both, because it's a new year now. So the Calming Space Grant, this was a grant that Ms. Boroff and I applied for to allow us to get to create a calming room for our students who either need it to
Is there a
calm.
teacher calling?
Well, you guys can go in there too. I'm telling, there's gonna be a Lego wall. It's gonna be like, it's gonna be a lot of
I was
fun.
envisioning something completely different, but okay.
Well, it's, you can go in there all by yourself.
My vision was very different from a teacher.
I can't get you the things that you want for a teacher calming room. I cannot legally purchase those. So we applied for this grant. Unfortunately, this grant, there was only one allowed per district. There were 4 schools in Fayette County that wanted to apply. So what they did is they just took the 4 applications and copy pasted our parts together. And so it didn't really flow as a district application. So because of that, we did not receive the grant as a district. So based on that, we budgeted $2,500 to get everything within this area. You can look further down and see all the items that we were wanting to purchase: a trampoline, hedgehog pods, an exercise ball and stand, a wall panel for a Lego wall, the Lego wall storage, Legos, liquid fusion floors. Ms. Borof's already got one of these. It's that green thing in her office that you can stand on. A sensory table, TheraPutty, putty storage, light coverings, time timer, shoe storage. So when they go in, they actually take their shoes off and it's a little more calming. Organizational bins, play pellets, instant snow, water beads, lanyards. Each classroom is going to get a lanyard that they can send a student to the calming room if they just need, hey, I just need you to take a break. You're going to go to the calming room. And we train kids on how to use that. Sand moving wall art. If you've never seen this, it's really cool. If you spin them, it then drips sand down. They're really cool. I want one for my house. A purble, which is a calming stuffed animal with heartbeat, liquid motion timers, water bead bags, sensory stickers, Jello noodles, sensory slug. You can see it comes to $2,481. So I am proposing that we use some of our $22,000 in Title I funds that are carrying forward from last year to fund this grant for us.
Are any of these items like consumable that we're gonna have to build in a little bit extra in case they're?
Not really. We
Stuff.
tried to get things that were going to be very able to stand, durable, reliable.
I didn't know if anything was like,
We may need instant snow or the play pellets. Those things may need to eventually be replaced. The water beads may need to be eventually
I
replaced.
didn't know if we needed to just build in a little bit of. Yeah.
Sure. If we want to allocate $3,000 to do that, that would give us plenty. I mean, you can see the water beads cost $16.
Well, but I mean,
pop.
some of this stuff as a parent, I wouldn't want my kid here and then someone else.
Yeah.
In it,
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
if someone's having a rough time.
Yes. And the goal is that we
putting
would,
some bodily fluids. in it.
yes. And we would not put a student in here who is headed that direction. This would be kind of like middle
You know
of the
what I
road
mean,
kids.
though. You know what
Yes.
I mean, though.
Yes, very much so that we want that.
I mean,
with
I
all
think
of
it's a
that.
great idea, I think, but I don't know if we should give her just
I
a.
have a question. What do you do now? Because you don't have this room now.
Yes, we have it. Like, so right now it just is kind of, we buy random things. Like I have stress balls in my office. And if a kid's escalated, they come into my office and I let them chuck a stress ball at a wall. Like, or they go into a
lot of
different
us have, like,
space.
Yeah,
similar
I'm just
items,
curious, like
like,
what's
just-
happening now.
Yeah, so it's more just on an individualized basis. And we kind of just do it.
In whose room will this be?
This is going to be in, Miss Boroff has 2 rooms in her office. So she moved to the front office of her space so that she can control it. So she would be in the front office and then the back room would be for this calming space. So yes, right now it's more just kind of flexible and
Mhm.
we kind of float with whatever we can.
A
And
lot of the students have special needs, their special
Yeah,
education
yeah.
teachers have some of these things, but this would be more accessible for
Okay.
all students.
Yeah.
So, what happens if someone wants to just camp out there for the whole day?
we're going to have very
Is that why there's
specific.
a- is that why there's a timer?
There are timers.
I also have my
Yes.
son.
Yes.
We'll just be
Items,
like,
yeah.
I need a minute. and
Yes.
we would just walk out. I don't know.
Yes, no, there's going to be timers and students will have to sign in as they enter. So if Miss Boroff's not in her office, we're going to train them that they have to come to the front office and another of our staff members will supervise them while they're in that room. And we are going to set a specific time limit that you're allowed to be in the space, because we're also limiting the number of kids that can be in the space at a time so that it's not overrun with kids. So I think I don't know that we've set a
And then if
definitive
you're
time.
requesting to go there 5 days a week, we probably need to have a different discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we would utilize some of this to get more. And I think eventually the goal is that if we were to get this space, then in the future, we could purchase some of these items for teachers to have in their classroom, to have like a calming corner that, hey, I've got this bin of tactile things that I can pull out and fidget with, and so that we can kind of stair step this. So. Okay, so I'll make the motion to approve $3,000 from Title I funds to allocate to cover this. Is there a second?
A second.
A second by Ms. Russell. Any more discussion around this item? Okay, all in favor of approving $3,000 from Title I funds to purchase these materials, please say aye.
Aye.
I,
Motion carries. And we will also invest some other money to get Miss Lane. She wants a Lego wall as well. So we'll help her work on that with some additional funds. So, well, we can't all have Lego walls, then they lose their. I want, yeah. So, okay. So that moves us in through all of our items. So the next several things on here is just items for next month. This was in there's a supplemental packet each month that I always try and clip for you that just has materials to look through for next month. So there are 5 items that we'll be talking about next month. The first item here, which is not linked into the agenda for a specific reason, but council members, you all have a copy of it. It says Chapter 3, creating the school-centered emergency management plan. This is our school safety plan. It details out exactly what we do in all sorts of emergencies and everything. I'll be beginning to revise this, and I'll have it for you guys to look at in August. We do not post this publicly anywhere, because we do not want, and we will, like, I won't really even go very in depth with a lot of things, because we don't want people to know what our emergency plans are in the event we have to evacuate the building and where we go and things like that. So as council members, you guys have purview over this and can look through it all. But it's more just informational for you, kind of the process that we follow. I did attend a training at the beginning of the summer just on crisis response and kind of some how to plan for things. I went over and visited one of our sites, our evacuation sites, to start planning if we were to have to evacuate the building, what would that look like at that site? But we don't want everybody to know where we're going, because twofold, we don't want the person instigating the issue, the reason for the evacuation, to have knowledge of where we're going. And we also don't want to be flooded with parents who then all show up at the place because we're there until we're ready. So if there were a situation where we had to evacuate, we would send a message to say, we are evacuating the building, students are safe, we will be communicating our location as soon as we're ready and prepared, because we want to be set up for whatever. I hope that this never happens. This is like, but we have to be prepared in the event that it does. And
Is it just for evacuation?
no, this
Would
is
it be
fire
like
drill,
like,
lockdown, everything is in here. So you see where we go for severe weather, where we go for an earthquake, where we go, who's in charge of the radio, who's in charge of keeping this spreadsheet up to date. It's all in this document. So, but the big one's the evacuation one. That's really, we don't worry too much about inside the building because we can control that a little bit more. It's more we don't want everybody to know where that's at. So the next items, if you would just review, you have copies of these in your packet. We'll be reviewing and discussing revisions to our bylaws. It is okay if you don't have any. We just reviewed all of these last year. So if we look through them and we don't have any revisions, we can just move on and we don't have to come back to it. If we do have revisions, that does go through a first reading and then a second reading with everything. So you have bylaws, you have technology use, discipline, and the curriculum policy. And I did review our curriculum policy because I thought we'd have to revise it, but ours doesn't, because now the district chooses curriculum. Ours doesn't say anything about actual curriculum and selection of it. So I don't think we'll have to make any revisions to that. So any questions on what we need to do for next month? Okay, so we are at the fun part of the agenda that is called adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn? A motion by Ms. Russell. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second by Ms. Hill. All in favor of adjourning our meeting at 5:45, please say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Have a great night, everybody. I'll keep your folder each week with that. So thank you, Ms. Lane. We'll see you
Hi.
Later.